Say it ain't so. The Colorado Rockies victorious tonight against the San Francisco Giants. They win on this Saturday night by a final score of 4-3. Kyle Freeland continues to look the part. Brenton Doyle staying hot. What else we got in this game? There's a lot. Jake Cave making an impact. A lot to be happy about with the performance tonight from the Colorado Rockies. As we said, now 2-0 coming out of the All-Star break. You absolutely love to see it. And what was the main theme on last night's show? Competency, 500 ball. Look the part, show some improvement, show that you have some juice left in you in the second half of the season. And the Rockies certainly look to be doing just that as they win tonight 4-3, 2-0 since the All-Star break. You love to see it. We'll break it all down on tonight's episode of your Locked On Rockies postcast. Stick with us. Let's get it started.
You are Locked On Rockies postcast, powered by Mile High Sports, part of Locked On Sports Denver on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
It is your Locked On Rockies postcast. Hope everybody is doing well out there on this Saturday night, July the 20th, and it's a windy, rainy night. It's just I could hear it outside as I'm doing the show here from up north. As interesting game for the Rockies, but they are victorious, and you love to see that because we know that it's been a little bit of a slog for this team this season. Well, really for a majority of this season, if we're being honest with ourselves. So nice to see the Rockies take advantage here out of the All-Star break, using that rest to their advantage, coming back with their heads on straight, locked in and ready to go. And that was the case here tonight as they win over the San Francisco Giants by a final score of 4-3. The Rockies improved to 36-63 on the season, while the San Francisco Giants fall to 47-52. And just another solid game across the board, I would say, from the Rockies. Good mix of solid pitching. We'll touch on Victor Vodnik at the end of the program. I thought he was great tonight once again, maybe rounding into that unofficial closer role for the Rockies right now. Kyle Freeland doing his thing. And, we harped on that a lot at the end of last night's show about can Freeland stay hot? Because if guys like Kyle Freeland, German Marquez, and Cal Quantrill are able to look the part, all it's going to do is help the Rockies down the stretch here as they continue to trek on through this 2024 Major League Baseball season. So you love to see it tonight as the Rockies win 4-3. But if this is your first time tuning into the Locked On Rockies postcast, welcome on in. If you're listening on the main feed where you can find the Locked On Rockies podcast, welcome. If you want to watch the show on YouTube, you can do so with the Locked On Sports Denver YouTube channel, Locked On Sports Denver. Make sure to subscribe over there so you never miss an episode. We'll be back at it again tomorrow after the series finale as the Rockies look to sweep this series against the San Francisco Giants. How awesome would that be if the Rockies can come out of the All-Star break with a sweep against a division rival? So fingers crossed on that front, but make sure to smash that subscribe button, guys. And if you want to follow me, you can do so on social media at Media by AP. But let's start with the offense tonight. The Rockies generating 4 runs on 8 hits. Just a solid effort. They didn't exactly knock everybody's socks off offensively. They didn't come close to tacos tonight, but just a good, competent night at the office from this Rockies lineup. And it's been the heavy hitters, that are getting it done here. Last night, Ezequiel Tovar and Brenton Doyle both driving in runs. Tovar with a home run last night, deja vu, because Ezequiel Tovar not only has a home run in tonight's game, he hit an absolute moon shot in this game. I mean, we're talking concourse level. Like this is, Nolan Arenado, Trevor Story type territory with Ezequiel Tovar, and he absolutely blasted a home run in this game as the Rockies, as we mentioned, end up victorious with a final score of 4-3. Excuse me, my computer is tweaking on me real quick. Tovar tonight has 2 base hits and 4 at-bats, comes around to score twice, drives in 2 runs on his own as well. He's now hitting 278, so Ezequiel Tovar has been doing the darn thing, and his home run came in the bottom of the 5th inning. His 16th home run of the season was an absolute rocket to left field. An absolute rocket off of the bat of Ezequiel Tovar as he's starting to heat up here once again. July was not a very good month, or I guess we're still in the middle of July, but the early portion of July, rather, I should add, had not been very kind to Ezequiel Tovar. And he's come back, not just since the All-Star break, but, a couple of series leading up to the All-Star break. And he has been locked in at the plate. Ezequiel Tovar at one point in the middle of July went 8 consecutive games without a hit. He was 0 for 28 at one point, over the course of that stretch. He now has rocked 4 home runs in his last 3 games. Shout out to my guy Patrick Lyons on Twitter for the note about that. And, so he's been bouncing back. And look, that's going to come, with the ups and downs of being a young player. What is he, 22 years old, I believe? He's no older than 23. I know that off the top of my head. But, this being his second season in the major leagues, he got out to a really hot start and was able to maintain that through most of May and June, hit right around 290 for a majority of the season. And then, you expect these valleys to eventually come, not just with the young players, but really any player, in this instance. It's hard to remain consistent over the course of a 162 game schedule, but 8 consecutive games without a hit where you're 0 for 28, that's as bad as it gets. It's hard to really be much worse than that. But, you got to trust the process. You got to keep putting in your work. And, Ezequiel Tovar, I think, has done a great job of, taking the pitches that are coming to him, staying a little bit more patient and, waiting for a pitch that he knows he could hit as opposed to maybe chasing a little bit undisciplined at times he was in the batter's box, I want to say. And also, there was a couple unlucky situations with Ezequiel Tovar where there was some hard hit contact that, was either right to a player or whatever it might be, situational type stuff. But Tovar tonight, like we said, bouncing back in a big way. He's hitting 279 I'm looking at Brent Doyle's stats. Tovar hitting 278, so I was close, 1 percentage point off in that sense. Did strike out once tonight, but when you hit a moonshot home run, to the concourse and you're pretty sound across the board otherwise, it's going to happen. And the reality of the situation is strikeouts are a part of the game, and Ezequiel Tovar found that out. But he was a stud tonight. Looking at the other runs scored for the Rockies, they got it to a hot start in this one, the bottom of the first inning. Elias Diaz got the first run of the game home. And then Brenton Doyle, who's been absolutely phenomenal. I should say Diaz he grounded into a double play, but was able to get Chuck Nasty home on that one. So nice to see the Rockies attacking Logan Webb as well. I'm going to save a lot of my thoughts on the pitching for the next segment coming up here in just a minute or so, because I do want to dive into this matchup between Kyle Freeland and Logan Webb. But the reason I'm starting with the offense is I love the way that the Rockies attacked Logan Webb. Logan Webb is an all-star for the San Francisco Giants, a guy who's been one of the better pitchers in the National League this season. And, if you've listened to these postcasts before, I say it all the time where it's when the Rockies are digging themselves into these holes that, it's hard to kind of crawl yourself out of. And so tonight, I like the fact that they're able to attack Logan Webb, get some early runs, at Coors Field after the All-Star break, catching the Giants sleeping a little bit. And all that's going to do is set Kyle Freeland up for success. And Freeland has been absolutely dominant since coming back off the injured list. I believe this was his 5th start. We'll talk about that here in a minute as well. Take a look at all of his starts and how it's kind of led up to this moment. But I think that was just proper baseball tonight. That's just kind of the simplest way to put it, because for so many games this season, in the time that I've been doing this podcast, which was right at the end of May is when I started doing these things, just bad fundamentals. The Rockies shooting themselves in the foot, right? Digging themselves in these holes that are darn near impossible to crawl themselves out of. And I think with tonight's game and really yesterday's game as well, like I know they were kind of down in a majority of that game before they rallied late, but no panic, no rollover, belief in themselves. And I just think for tonight's game in particular, it was nice to see them just come out and, do the darn thing and play with confidence. So we'll see if that can continue. We got a comment here from my guy, Rugby Prof 2. I can see a future in which this young core with Condon as an addition can be a solid, even playoff team with some good pitching. Absolutely, man. And I went back and I was listening to last night's episode. I misspoke. I think I said Brenton Doyle was 29 years old. That's Nolan Jones, who I was thinking of. Brenton Doyle was only 20. Well, actually, let me check this, because Nolan Jones might be younger than 29. I don't know why I'm thinking 29. Let me look at this up now. Yeah, what am I talking about? I'm getting my 6s and my 9s confused, but Nolan Jones and Brenton Doyle are both 26, right? So you think about it from the perspective of you should be able to have at least 3 or 4 more pretty strong seasons from Nolan Jones and Brenton Doyle that make up your outfield, right? You draft the kid out of Georgia who has I wish I could talk more about it, because like if I was doing, if maybe I'll try to hop on with Paul so we could talk about him a little bit, because when I'm doing the postcast, I try to keep it more so about the game and whatnot. But you've got guys like Zach Veen, you've got Romo, the catcher, right? Like the pitching is going to be a question here. But look, if Kyle Freeland can bounce back, if German Marquez can look good, at least you have a little bit of a foundation, right? Cal Quantrill, we've talked about, will he be back in the long term? I'm not so sure, but slowly but surely, Antonio Senzatella, we'll see what he looks like when he comes back as well. You can see some of the building blocks. And I remember when I first started doing this show, that was one of my main talking points with this team this season compared to last year. Last year, it felt like you had no vision, like you had no plan. This year, it feels like as bad as you are, you're seeing some of this stuff kind of come to fruition, right? Aniello Amador coming up at one point in this season. Talking about Ezekiel Tovar, the continued dominance of Brenton Doyle, Ryan McMahon rounding into all-star form, Elias Diaz, he's probably not going to get traded. So, I agree with you here, Rugby Prof, too. I think that the Rockies' young core definitely is coming into form here. And we'll have to see if they can continue to draft and develop, try to add some of the right pieces in free agency, make the right trades. Have to be a little savvy with this stuff. But I do think tonight, honestly, this may be the best game I've seen the Rockies play. And I mean, obviously, there's been a lot that I've had to do the postcasts on. I think I've done almost 30 or 40 episodes at this point. But this was one of just the most professional, clean games that I've seen the Rockies play. So you love to see that. But all right, let's hit a quick break. When we come back, we will continue along with the conversation. I want to dive into Kyle Freeland's start in particular because he has been absolutely phenomenal since coming back off that injured list. And tonight, just another par for the course start for him as the Rockies looking for some stability in that starting rotation, and Kyle Freeland has done just that. So stick with us. Back in just a few minutes, we'll hit a quick break right here on your Locked On Rockies postcast. All right, you guys, let me tell you about our friends over at PrizePicks, because PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the PrizePicks community today. And right now, guys, you can win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000. Get in on the excitement and win up to 100 times your cash with this summer's games on PrizePicks. With PrizePicks, you can turn $10 into $1,000 while watching Team USA rack up the gold medals this summer. You can make a PrizePicks lineup of players across basketball, soccer, tennis, golf, and more in as little as 60 seconds. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you are locked in. Please be sure to check out our friends over at PrizePicks, guys. They do a great job. And if you're looking for promotions, PrizePicks has got you covered each and every week, from lowering select player stats projections on Tuesdays to help your lineup hit, or getting your entry fee back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. PrizePicks is available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match of up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks for a deposit match of up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It is that easy with our friends over at PrizePicks. Be sure to download that PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match of up to $100. All right, y'all, let me also tell you about our friends over at eBay Motors, because passion, drive, and patience, the formula for winning championships, is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions, they do apply. eBay guaranteed fit, only available to U.S. customers. But guys, be sure to check out our friends over at eBay Motors. Millions of parts for your MVP. Win every time with parts that fit your ride. Only at eBay Motors. Let them know that Locked On Rockies sent you, and keep your ride or die alive. All right, welcome on back into your Locked On Rockies postcast. I am your host, Aniello Piro. Hope everybody is doing well out there on this Saturday night. A windy, rainy night. I walked outside for a few minutes during the game. I almost knocked this hat off my head. It's so windy out there. So I'm sure that made for some interesting playing conditions out there at 20th and Blake tonight. But thankfully, not a big deal for the fighting Colorado Rockies as they win this game by a final score of 4-3. Spent a majority of the first segment doing some general thoughts, but in particular honing in on the offense, the young core, guys like Tovar and Doyle, now the second game in a row where they have just looked absolutely phenomenal. So we'll see if the Rockies can continue to try to keep this momentum going. They've got an opportunity they've clinched the series victory, which is great. What was the last series the Rockies won? Man, I can't even tell you. I literally can't even tell you off the top of my head. Like I almost want to quiz myself right now. They lost to the Reds twice. They lost to the Twins. They lost to the Pirates. Or I think they had a winning series against the Milwaukee Brewers a few weeks back, if memory serves me correctly. But that's when I was on vacation. So, so it goes. But nice to see the Rockies get a series victory. And look, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. They're going for the sweep tomorrow against San Francisco. And let me check that, because sometimes I get too far ahead of myself and I'm just so into the groove of 3-game series. This could be a 4-gamer. No. Okay, that is correct. Yeah, they got the Boston Red Sox coming into town on Monday. So that'll be a fun test for them, because Boston has been one of the better teams, in recent memory here in Major League Baseball this season. So we'll see what they can do. But, I was saying the first segment, just a clean game from the Rockies. And let's dive into Kyle Freeland tonight, folks. He was absolutely phenomenal. He's now 2-3 on the season, gets the win tonight, drops his ERA. I believe he entered into this game with an ERA of 6. And it's down to 5.63 right now. Freeland tonight, 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, 3 runs, only 2 of them earned, 1 walk. You love to see that. How about Kyle Freeland only allowing 1 walk in this game? That is phenomenal. And he also punched out 4 batters in this game tonight. And Freeland had to deal with some adversity. There was a couple of moments there where multiple runners on base, having to work his way through some traffic on the base pass, and he does a great job of, making pitches. And, we'll talk about Victor Vodnik. Maybe I'll probably say that for the final segment as well. But that was the big thing. Jalen Beeks, you saw last night, come into the game in a big spot, making pitches, good location, even though, running up these full counts, not letting these at-bats get away from you. And I think with a guy like Kyle Freeland tonight, when you get out there and you have yourself a 2-0 advantage what am I talking about? That would have been in the bottom. That would have been the top of the second inning. Excuse me. The Rockies were at home tonight. But still, either way, when your offense is able to go out there early in the game, in the first inning, the bottom of the first in this instance for the Rockies, and get you some run support, that takes some weight off your shoulders if you're a guy like Kyle Freeland, right? And that you've had some ups and downs in your career. That the start of this season in particular was about as bad as it gets. And so to see your offense go out there and provide you with that run support, it's got to be a great feeling for a guy like Kyle Freeland. And he takes full advantage of that and delivers yet another really quality start for the Rockies tonight. That's now 2 quality starts in a row. Cal Quantrill last night and Kyle Freeland tonight. And, you just love to see that for a guy like Kyle, who had to, fight through some adversity, just to kind of get back to the spot with the injury. I know there was some conversation about maybe he'd be out for potentially the whole season. There was some question marks around his viability at one point. But he does a good job. Top of the second inning, clean inning for the most part, gives up a leadoff walk to Matt Chapman, but is able to work around that rather easily. Gives up 1 run in the third inning from a Tyler Fitzgerald homer, a solo shot, so the solo home run will not kill you all the time. Top of the 4th inning, 1, 2, 3. And then the top of the 5th inning is where he ran into some trouble here. San Francisco ended up tying it up 2-2 with another Tyler Fitzgerald RBI, this time a double off of his bat. But limiting the damage, not letting things boil over, right? That's kind of the name of the game for the Rockies. And I call them Coors Field games for a reason. Sometimes we see these ball games just get so out of hand. And that's what I talk about with playing behind the 8 ball, digging yourself a hole that you can't crawl out of. look, you can't throw no hitters in perfect games or, one hit, one run games, every time you're out there, right? But Kyle Freeland tonight did a good job of keeping this game close, giving up some runs. That's part of the game and whatnot, but not letting this thing boil over. So I thought that was great to see tonight from Kyle Freeland as he continues to just build his confidence. I feel like Kyle Freeland's one of those guys, everybody loves good momentum, right? But I do feel like when you're a starting pitcher and a guy like Kyle Freeland, who's, like I said, the first half of the season was putrid. There's no other way to put it. When you're able to string these starts together and when you're able to come out of the All-Star break and have a good start, maybe sometimes some of I remember I was listening to the radio broadcast of that Mets series before the All-Star break, and I think they were talking about Jack Corrigan and Jerry Schemmel were talking about a guy like Brenton Doyle, right, who's been red hot. Like sometimes you don't want that All-Star break, right? Sometimes you don't want those games off because you want to just keep the good times going. And it's nice to see not just the offense, but Freeland in particular use that time to his advantage and come back tonight and put forth another quality start. Again, Freeland, 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, 3 runs, 2 of them earned, 1 walk, and 4 strikeouts. And just looking at Kyle Freeland's game log, guys, I mean, he has been absolutely fantastic since coming back off the injured list. Yes, this was his 5th start since coming back off the IL. He's pitched into the 6th inning in he's gone at least 6 full innings in every single one of those starts. I mean, it's crazy. I can't tell you, how many of these shows that I've done where the starting pitcher goes 3 innings, 4 1/3, 4 2/3, 5 1/3 if you're lucky. And Kyle Freeland has just continued to dominate and turn out quality start after quality start. I mean, working in reverse here, his last start before the All-Star break against Cincinnati, 6 2/3, 8 hits, 2 runs, both of them earned, 9 strikeouts, 1 walk. His previous start before that against the Royals, 7 innings pitched, 2 runs, 7 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. He went 6 2/3 against the White Sox. He was sharp in that game as well. And his return game from the injured list, the Rockies ended up losing the game of the Washington Nationals, but Kyle Freeland went 6 scoreless innings in that start. That's back on the 23rd of June. So, all in all, the body of work for Kyle Freeland since coming back off the IL has been nothing short of fantastic. And looking at it here, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see, here's 5, and he had 2. So about 7 earned runs for Kyle Freeland since coming back off the injured list in those 5 starts. You'll take that 10 times out of 10. So nice to see him getting back in the groove, getting back in the swing of things, because, if Freeland's able to stabilize this rotation a little bit, it's going to help guys like Tyler Kinley get some more extended looks. It's going to help take the weight off the shoulders of guys like Jalen Beeks and Victor Vodnik. All good things from quality starting pitching, which has eluded the Rockies for a long time in their franchise's history, but specifically in this season, all across the board. So nice to see him come back. Hopefully Marquez and company can continue along with the momentum. But Kyle Freeland was fantastic tonight. For the rest of the bullpen, clean across the board. Nick Mears, 2 innings pitched, 4 strikeouts. That's the only other thing you need to know. No hits, no runs, no walks, no home runs allowed. 4 strikeouts for Nick Mears in 2 innings pitched. And Victor Vodnik, a clean inning to close this one out for the Rockies. Gives him no hits, 1 strikeout. His ERA down to 3.96. So slowly but surely things seem to be starting to come together for the Rockies. You absolutely love to see it. So, all right, let's hit our final break. Wow, these shows just fly by when they win these games, man. Just so much to talk about. Let's hit a quick break. When we come back, we'll put a bow on the show. I got a couple of thoughts about the bullpen, and we'll take a look at tomorrow's game as the Rockies look to close this one out against the San Francisco Giants with a sweep. Have the Rockies had a sweep this year? Honestly, I'm not sure off the top of my head. I'd have to look it up. But if they have, my guess is there's no more than 1 or 2 sweeps for the Rockies this year. I'm sure they've been swept a number of times. But, it's one of those situations where this is an opportunity for the Rockies to do something that they don't have an opportunity to do on a regular basis right now. So let's see if the Rockies can do that. But stick with us. We'll come back and do just that right here on your Locked On Rockies postcast. Back in just a few minutes. All right, Sean, let me tell you about our friends over at FanDuel, because I love sports. I love them so much, I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer and fewer games, and the sports, well, they just aren't sportsing like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open up the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. Not just new customers, all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day all summer long at FanDuel Sportsbook. So head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel is an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. And look, if you bet the Rockies tonight, you came out a winner in this one, guys. We got the Open Championship going on. UFC's going on all the time. Football's on the horizon. Get those futures bets in. You can get it all done. You can get all your money down with our friends over at FanDuel. Let them know that Locked On Rockies sent you, and good luck on your wagers. All right, welcome on back into your Locked On Rockies postcast. Hope everybody is hanging in there on this Saturday night. A good victory for the Rockies as they take down the San Francisco Giants by a final score of 4-3. And as always, guys, make sure to subscribe to the Locked On Sports Denver YouTube channel. If you're watching live, you're already here. Welcome. But spread the word if you're listening on the audio feed. Locked On Denver Sports, or Locked On Sports Denver, excuse me, I keep putting them backwards, YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe, and if you want to follow me on social media, you can do so at Media by AP, and again, Locked On Sports Denver. That's the channel you want to subscribe to as we're having fun here on the Locked On Rockies postcast as the Rockies are victorious. So I just want to talk about Victor Vodnik here for a second. We talked about his clean inning tonight. This is the second consecutive game in which he's been used in a save type scenario. And, Buddy Black, I was reading some stuff online. I also heard it on the radio broadcast, has talked about Victor Vodnik as that late inning guy, whether it's the setup man or the closer. And clearly Buddy Black has, his feelings about Victor Vodnik and the confidence in him, because to throw him out there in consecutive games, I think just speaks to the belief that he has in him. And nice to see Victor Vodnik clean up tonight. I've always thought that him and Nick Mears are probably the two guys in that bullpen, and Jalen Beeks, they all have raw potential. It's about harnessing that potential. And I think, it's nice to see a guy like Victor Vodnik, who was sharp to start the season and then kind of fell off there in the middle of June, early July, kind of recapture his focus here. He's been pretty good in his last handful of outings. And again, tonight he had one inning pitched, clean across the board, one strikeout, gets his ERA down to below 4. So you do love to see that. So they swept the Rangers earlier. Yes, you absolutely are right. Right. That's what I knew it was something wacky like that. Shout out my guy, Rugby Prof, man. Appreciate you tuning in live on the show. Yes, they did sweep the Rangers earlier this season in regards to the Rockies, in regards to their winning streaks and whatnot. They also beat the Phillies in a series. They didn't sweep them, but I know they beat them in a series. It's weird. Like the Rockies, I haven't checked the updated number, but they've been pretty good against teams with winning records, and they've been bad against teams with losing records, which is not how it's supposed to work, but so it goes. But I think that speaks to the natural talent the Rockies have. But yeah, with Victor Vodnik, I don't think this is just a flash in the pan with him. I think Buddy Black is going to try to convert him to that closer type of role, so long as he continues to perform. So we'll see if he can do just that. But good stuff tonight from Victor Vodnik. Like I said, if you got some stability in the starting rotation and you got one or two guys, whether it's Jalen Beeks or Victor Vodnik, that you can rely on for the most part in the bullpen, it's just going to make your life a lot easier, as we get into these dog days of the Major League Baseball season. So we'll see what Mr. Vodnik has in store for us the rest of the way. But looking ahead to tomorrow's game, the Rockies going for the sweep here. It is a 1:10 Mountain Time first pitch. It will be Austin Gomber on the mound. We'll see what Mr. Gomber can do. He'll oppose Hayden Birdsong of the San Francisco Giants. And Birdsong, I think, has only made a couple of starts this year for San Francisco. He's 1-0 with a 3.72 ERA and 18 strikeouts. Gomber 2-6 with a 4.61 ERA and 67 strikeouts. And the big thing with Gomber that you're going to need to keep an eye on is that first inning. I've talked about it. You've read about it online. The first inning has been his kryptonite. If Austin Gomber is able to get out of the first inning against the Giants tomorrow with a relatively, I shouldn't even say relatively, zeros across the board, I guess you can give up a base hit or two as long as you don't give up a run. But if the Rockies are able to go into the bottom of the first inning with a goose egg on the board from the Giants, it is going to greatly increase their chances at winning this game, because Gomber tends to get better as the games go along. And so you want to see him get out to a good start tomorrow. Taking a look at his last start for Gomber. Let's see here. It came on July the 11th against the Cincinnati Reds. He was all right. Not great. 5 innings pitched, 7 hits, 4 runs, all of them earned. To give up 2 home runs, which was bad. Both of them solo shots, if memory serves me correctly. But he did punch out 5. He only walked 1 in that one as well. And Great American Ballpark is easily the most hitter-friendly ballpark in the National League. So, I kind of give that at a little bit of a discount. But, you want to see Gomber, much like Freeland, much like Cal Quantrill, can he take advantage of this All-Star break to kind of rest and recuperate and reset in his mind and go out there and deliver a good start for the Rockies? So it should be a good one as the Rockies look to make it 3 in a row. How great would that be, guys, if the Rockies can make it 3 in a row and come out of the All-Star break with a series sweep of a division rival? Again, it'll be Austin Gomber, 2-6, 4.61 ERA against Hayden Birdsong, who's 1-0 with a 3.72 ERA, 110 first pitch. All right, that is going to do it for me tonight, folks. Appreciate you guys. My guy, Rugby Prof 2, my guy. Appreciate you big time, my friend. We'll be back at it again mañana. Hope to see you in here with the live chat. Always, and that's the thing, man. Like, if you're listening to this not live, or if you're, after the fact, whatever it might be, hop into the YouTube chat. I love, throwing up your comments on the screen, kind of going back and forth a little bit. So let's get you guys involved a little bit more here on the Locked On Rockies postcast. Make sure to check us out live on YouTube after the games as well. We're having fun with it, and subscribe to that Locked On Sports Denver YouTube channel. Well, that's going to do it for me tonight, folks. The Rockies take down the San Francisco Giants 4-3 and improve to 36-63 on the season. Their second consecutive win out of the All-Star break as they go for a series sweep of the division rival San Francisco Giants on Sunday afternoon. Good stuff across the board. Offense looked good. Pitching looked good. Rockies look good right now. And that is going to do it for us on tonight's episode of your Locked On Rockies postcast. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday night, folks, and we'll talk to you tomorrow afternoon, hopefully after a Rockies series sweep of the San Francisco Giants. Have a good night, folks.